Hello, and welcome to this game review. In this one, we will talk about opening principles and what the aims of the opening are, as well as some material imbalances, and finally, the absolute best way to get better at chess, which is thinking and using more time. This is a cheat code that must be used, and it's the absolute best way to get better results. So let's take a look. So it started as some bishops opening knight f3. Probably we should just play knight f3 here to attack the pawn. This will limit black's options. Now we will have to develop the knight to c6 to defend the pawn, and then we can continue developing. But this is also fine. White develops the pieces quite sensibly. And now this move knight g5, which does have a threat of knight takes f7, but it is very easy to deal with. And after black castles, now this knight doesn't really make any sense, as now f7 is very well defended, and our attack will not really work because we don't have enough attackers. We need to develop the pieces first and then see what to do. So instead, white should just develop, play bishop g5 next, and go from there. And the position will be quite okay. But knight g5, now after castles, white plays castles, and h3 is played. Engine suggests that these are mistakes, but these are fine moves. And here white plays knight takes f7. But this is bad because even though it seems like the material will be equal, we get 6 points and we lose 6 points. In reality, the two pieces are much better than the rook, especially in the opening when the position is not yet open. These rooks on a1 and f1 are terrible, and they will not get good anytime soon. While these pieces, we can imagine this light squared bishop and this knight, they are very strong and they won the game by themselves from here. And this is a very standard question, as should we sacrifice two pieces for a rook here? And the answer is always no. We should never give up the two pieces for a rook. There are very certain exceptions, but here we are not getting anything for it. And even though the material seems equal, black actually has much more material. So here already white is basically lost because he has less pieces. Now queen f3. And up until here, white has not used any of his time, which is a bad sign. This means we're not really trying to do our best. And instead, we should stop and use our time on every move. As a general rule, I would suggest never playing a move in less than 10 seconds. So now knight d4 is played, bishop e3, and as we can see, these pieces are much better than these rooks. So now black takes the bishop pair as well, and queen d7 is played, knight d5. So now we're trying to use some pin. Now that our rook is open, the rook can compete. Black plays the strange move rook g8. This kind of just addresses the fact that now the rook would be open, but white is not forced to take here. Here white finds this tactic that doesn't really work, starting with knight takes c7, and here he thinks for only like 20 seconds, which is also not a very good way to think when we have 13 minutes and when our position is more or less lost because of the material disadvantage. We should look for ways to change the balance of the position, and here it turns out white can open up the position a little bit by playing d4, and after this playing e5. This is a small tactic trying to deflect the pawn from d6 because the rook would attack the bishop, and if the pawn doesn't take, then this knight is attacked and it is pinned as well. As now we have our rooks actually playing, now they're quite useful. Instead, white plays knight takes c7, which makes sense to deflect the queen, take this bishop, but unfortunately white did not do a blunder check and he did not calculate far enough. And how could he, as we spent only a few seconds on this move? A blunder was inevitable here. So after knight takes c7, black takes back, and here white should be kind of, well, the position should be playable if we play, for example, b4, trying to get the piece back using the spin on the bishop. But instead, white plays queen takes g4 in 3 seconds. The reason was that white calculated this in advance, and this is a very common mistake which often happens when we don't play move by move. Blunders like this will happen. We have to understand that every single position, every single move is a very big decision, and every decision needs a lot of time to be considered. So here, white thought I will take, he will take back and I will take, and I have won a pawn. But unfortunately, at the end of this, as we then saw in the game, bishop takes e3 happens, and this could be seen at least here. Before making the move that we have wanted to make before, we could slow down and think, okay, I was planning to play this. Is this still a good idea? Turns out it's not. We should play something else. So here, unfortunately, black is just winning a rook. And now black has 2 pieces up, so the game is just over. White gives a check, but the 2 pieces are way too much, and this ends in checkmate or just inevitable material losses. So at the end of this game, white still has 13 minutes. And so this was basically a blitz game by white, while black used a lot of his time and he has 7 minutes left, and black won. So the lesson should be clear. We must use our time. This is the absolute best way to get better at chess. Our results will improve dramatically if we only use at least a bit of our time. If we use all of it, our results will reach our potential. So hopefully this was useful, and hopefully you're able to play a bit more slowly.